Hello, I'm Christopher Crumley, Associate Editor at SDM Magazine, and today my guest is.
Brent Ennals, and I'm the CEO of Cento Search in the US. We're a recruitment business based in the UK, covering basically the UK, Europe, parts of the Middle East, and venturing into the USA market.
Wonderful. Yeah, and congratulations. That's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about today was sort of can you talk about the decision to expand into the US market and sort of, what kind of demand you see in that market?
Okay. I mean, before I moved into recruitment, I came from industry. So I worked for the likes of Honeywell, I've worked for American companies. And as such, I've got quite a few American contacts and a couple of trips over to trade shows, etc., and talking to people there. The frustrations that we see in the UK European market with candidate short, candidate tight market is exactly the same in the US. The route to market's the same, the model's the same, the products are pretty much the same. Terminology is different. It's just a mirror image, and I thought, yeah, there's some space there for a specialist dedicated recruiter with industry knowledge to come and offer our services. And we offer more than just a resume service. So we offer an end-to-end solution, partnership, if you like, from a consultancy right through to post-placement work.
Wonderful. Yeah. Would you like to go a bit more in depth into the services you guys are offering?
Yeah, so again, it's more of a search offering rather than just filling jobs. And so effectively, what we do, we work in partnership with companies. Our first client here in the UK, we started with 20 years ago, is still a partner today. We still
Wow.
recruit for them today. And so what we do is we look at them from a holistic point of view. We look at how they're cut with their current hiring practices. So we do basically a free discovery call to start off with, looking at where the pain points are. Then we'll come up with a hiring strategy. Then we work with a client with regards to job descriptions, people descriptions, identifying the type of people that they're looking for. We then go into the market. We'll present 2 or 3 candidates. We'll take them through the whole interview process. We take them through offer management. We take through the whole counter offer stage, because just finding a candidate and offering them a job, you're only 50% of the way through the process. So then we take it through then the resignation stage, then the notice period, all the dangerous stages until we get them on board. And then once they're onboarded, then we work with the client and the candidate post placement to make sure they stay, and they stay there for a number of years. So it's a full end-to-end service as opposed to just firing resumes into people's inboxes.
Wonderful. And as you mentioned, the UK has a very similar situation that the US does. Often I speak with folks in the industry and they talk about the talent shortage.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, sort of your perspective on it. Like, how do you guys approach meeting that need, the industry's skilled need?
I mean, we don't profess to be able to, cure or solve the talent shortage. And again, it's exactly the same in the UK. I think it's global. Certainly in the security sector, there's a global talent shortage. What we've done here is we partner with the industry leading apprenticeship body, company called Skills for Security, and they train young people coming into the industry. So young people coming out of college, young people coming out of school, they'll facilitate apprenticeships for them with employers, and then they've got designated training centres regionally around the UK where they do off work training. So they do the theoretical side and they provide all the certification. So we partner with them and we help them get their message into schools and so on to get the younger people into the industry. And I guess the SIA in SEO is in the US. I've got the FAST program is very, very similar. And so again, we just get involved in that. It's not a service that we offer to bring people into the industry. What we do is find the people that are not on the market but in the market, if you like, the passive job seeker, people that aren't necessarily looking today, but they're looking in 1 month's time, in 2 months' time. So that's where we work proactively with a client to find their talent needs that they're going to need in a couple of months' time, rather than be reactive. Because it's the same as if you're looking for a guy to paint your house, the guy that's available tomorrow is not necessarily the guy you want.
Right, right. And can I ask briefly, about the partnership you guys have in the UK? You mentioned SIA. Are you guys beginning to get involved with the FAST program,
Yeah,
or
yeah. We're members of SIA, have been for a couple
wonderful,
of years. We're getting involved in the startup side, the HR side, and the FAST program as well. So yeah,
wonderful.
heavily invested.
Yeah, and I think that kind of leads easily into the next question, which is sort of, best practices in a sense. Are there anything is there something that comes to mind when I mention best practices that maybe you guys are using across the
Yeah,
pond that you're hoping to bring this way?
I mean, best practices from an employer point of view. I mean, I guess the
Sure.
phrase that
Sure.
springs to mind is Henry Ford: "If you always do what you've always done, well, you always get what you've always got." And so, what we encourage people to do is the worst thing an employer can do is to enter into a hiring process and not change anything they're doing. They need to look at it holistically, and they need to look at it differently, need to approach it differently. And in a candidate type market, they need to approach it with it's a two-way sale. And so rather than, the whole cliche of sell me this pen, in the interview process, the hiring manager has got to be selling the company and selling the opportunity to the candidate as much as the candidate's got to be selling themselves. And it's looking at it from that point of view, as well as forward forecasting. That's a big differentiator, is forward forecasting, not being reactive when it comes to hiring. So if you're looking to scale and grow a business, regardless of where you're based, you need to be looking at forward forecasting and thinking, these are the type of people I'm going to need in 3 months, 6 months, even 12 months time, as far forward as you can go, so you can plan exactly what it is you're looking for.
And I suppose, looking into the future, can you talk a bit to, I'm sure you guys have, internal goals and whatnot, but, if I said the word gold, like what would come to mind for Cento?
For the US market,
Yes. Yeah.
so for the goal for us is to get established in this year. It's early days for us, to be truthful. We've done the market research. We've got a couple of clients, talking to a few people at the moment, but it is still early days. Is we're not looking to conquer America, as they say. We're looking to pick up at least 6 good, solid partners that we can work with on a long-term basis, and we can deliver, 100% service. That's what we're looking for. That's our goal for this year, and then to grow from there, and ultimately then to open an office. We've got a presence in Miami, Florida, but then to open an office and then to start to expand across the US. But initially, is literally just to pick up 6 good, solid partners.
Yeah, and can I ask a bit about how that's structured before you guys have an office? Is there someone specifically designated to handling the U.S.
Yeah,
accounts?
we've got a team of 3 people dedicated to handling the US, myself and 2 others at the moment. One's based here, and to be truthful, one's based in Cape Town. So everything's done remotely,
Yeah.
but working exactly the same time zones. I mean, the skill shortage, the talent shortage, is only going to get worse. Okay, that's what people need to be prepared for. If you look at the World Health Organization, globally we're in an aging market, and so basically in the next 25 years, 25% of the population is going to be over 60. And then if you add into that the fact that the youth of today are attracted to being YouTubers, into the tech world, or whatever it might be. The security industry is a great industry. It's a great career for people, but it's sometimes overlooked and forgotten. So the war for talent is just going to intensify. So I think, really speaking, what my advice to any employer out there is to move away from what you would consider to be your traditional hiring methods of advertising. By all means, network through your people. Referrals are the best way of recruiting, but just think about things differently. And again, looking 2, 3, 4 months in advance of what you're looking to hire. Also take into account that your attrition rates of staff, because you need to compensate for that as well. But it's just that forward planning and taking into account that we're in an aging demographic, and so it's going to get worse, not before it gets better.
Yeah, in my neighborhood, we just had a like a fire alarm certification, almost like trade school, open up, called Safety Tech. Yeah, and I was able to be there at the grand opening, and that was something that I had they asked me to say a few words, and I had mentioned that security is kind of like the secret trade in a sense, right? It's one of those that nobody thinks of it.
All the building services, you go into a shopping mall, a college or wherever it might be, you're surrounded by access control, CCTV, fire detection, fire suppression, HVAC, but everyone just takes it for granted and walks around as this invisible world that lives above the ceiling, in essence, or on the ceiling.
Yeah. Well, Brett, thank you very much for taking the time.
No problem at all. Thank you for having me on. It's been fantastic. Really appreciate it.